The winter auction yard was crowded, loud and freezing, but Daniel felt strangely heavy inside. He kept walking until he reached the far pens where no buyers stood. There, alone in a corner, was a weak white stallion. His coat was dull, ribs showing, legs trembling under him. People walked past without even glancing. A worker muttered, "No bids on him, they'll put him down after the last round." Daniel froze. Something in the stallion's tired eyes made his chest tighten. The horse lifted his head slightly, looking at Daniel with a quiet sadness as if asking, "Do you see me?" Daniel stepped closer to the rail, whispering, "I won't leave you." At that moment, something unbreakable formed between them. Two workers walked toward the stallion with a rope and a long pole. Daniel panicked. "Wait, please," he said. They exchanged looks, sighed, and gave him a minute. Daniel reached a trembling hand through the wooden rail. The stallion leaned forward slowly and touched his muzzle to Daniel's palm. It wasn't forceful. It was soft, fragile, full of silent trust. That single touch changed something inside Daniel. He felt like the horse was giving him his last bit of hope. "I won't let them hurt you," Daniel whispered. He ran straight to the auction office. "I want to save him," he said. The clerk laughed until an older man stepped inside and said, "Let the boy speak." The white stallion was brought into the ring, walking slowly, every step shaky. Buyers whispered, some in pity, some in annoyance. The auction owner sighed, "Opening bid, $100. Silence. Daniel lifted his hand. "I bid." People turned, surprised. "Kid, you don't have money," the owner said. "He's not alone," the older man said. "I'll back him. The boy works. I cover the start." No one else bid. Not a single hand lifted. "Sold," the owner said reluctantly. The stallion raised his head, searching the room. When Daniel stepped forward, the horse walked toward him, stopping close enough for Daniel to touch his face. The whole room fell silent as the boy whispered, "You're coming home." The trailer ramp looked steep to the tired stallion. His legs trembled. He stepped forward, then froze. Daniel moved beside him. "You're safe now," he whispered. The horse took one careful step, then another. Snow fell softly around them, collecting on the horse's back. Daniel walked backward up the ramp, giving the stallion space to follow. Finally, the horse entered the trailer and exhaled deeply, as if letting go of a long-held fear. Daniel's uncle watched quietly. "He trusts you," he said. Daniel nodded, though he didn't fully understand how strong that trust was. All he knew was that he felt responsible, completely, deeply responsible, for the life that now depended on him. During the ride home, Daniel kept checking the mirror to make sure the stallion was steady. Every bump made his heart jump. Snow piled on the roadside fences and the sky turned darker. The older man said softly, "He's scared, Daniel. He's been moved around too many times." Daniel whispered, "This time is different." When they reached the farm, the barn lights glowed warm against the winter dark. The stallion hesitated again at the ramp, shaking. Daniel gently pressed his forehead to the horse's cheek. "Please, trust me." The stallion exhaled softly and followed him into the barn. For the first time, Daniel felt like the horse wasn't just trying to survive. He was trying to live. Fresh hay, warm bedding, soft lantern light. The stallion stood inside the stall, unsure. He didn't eat, didn't drink. Just watched Daniel with tired, questioning eyes. Daniel sat beside him on the straw. "You're not alone anymore," he whispered. Minutes stretched into hours. The horse finally lowered himself onto the bedding, breathing slowly, like someone releasing years of fear. Daniel's uncle peeked inside. "He likes you," he said. Daniel didn't answer. He already knew. The older man added softly, "Saving him is only the first step. Healing him, that's the real journey." Daniel placed a hand on the stallion's neck. "Then I'll stay," he said. And he did. At sunrise, a vet arrived, a calm woman with gentle hands. She checked the stallion carefully. "He's very weak," she said. "Hurt, tired, but not finished." Daniel swallowed. "Can he get better?" "Yes," she said. "But he needs care. He needs patience. And he needs you." The older man nodded. "We'll do whatever it takes." The stallion watched Daniel the whole time, eyes following him like he was the only safe thing in the room. For the first time, Daniel realized the horse wasn't just afraid of being hurt. He was afraid of being abandoned again. Daniel touched his muzzle gently. "I'm not going anywhere." Just as things felt calm, the barn door creaked open. 3 men stepped inside, the horse's previous owners. Daniel felt the stallion stiffen behind him. "We came to see if the rumor's true," the tall man said. The horse is still alive. The older man stepped forward. He's not yours anymore. The tall man smirked. He wasn't worth saving. Daniel burst out. He is. You just never saw it. The stallion nudged Daniel's shoulder, trembling. After a tense moment, the tall man scoffed. Keep him then. He's your problem now. They left. Daniel realized the stallion trusted him completely, and that trust came with responsibility. Snow began falling harder, covering the farm in white. Inside the barn, Daniel stayed beside the stallion. He read softly from an old storybook, even though he wasn't sure the horse understood. But the stallion calmed. He began eating again, slow bites, careful chews. The older man smiled. He listens to your voice. Daniel touched the horse's shoulder. I'll talk forever if it helps. The horse leaned gently into him, seeking warmth and comfort. It wasn't loud healing. It wasn't sudden. It was small, steady moments that built trust, just like people do. One cold morning, Daniel opened the barn door and froze. The stallion was standing taller. Not completely strong, but steadier. He even took a few confident steps toward Daniel, ears forward, eyes clearer than ever. Daniel's heart swelled. Look at you, he whispered. The older man watched from behind. He finally believes this place is home. Daniel wrapped his arms gently around the horse's neck. The stallion lowered his head and rested it there, not afraid, not tense, just peaceful. It was the first time Daniel saw him fully relaxed. Healing had truly begun. Days passed. Daniel brushed the stallion's coat, talked to him, stayed with him through cold nights. The horse followed him across the barn like a shadow. His uncle laughed softly. You've got yourself a friend. But Daniel knew it was more than that. The stallion wasn't just following him, he was trusting him with his life. One evening, Daniel stood beside him and whispered, I'm going to take care of you, for as long as you need. The stallion breathed gently against his hand. The older man said quietly, He chose you, Daniel. You gave him something no one else ever did. Daniel asked, What? A reason to keep living. Winter slowly softened and the stallion grew stronger. His coat brightened, his steps steadied, and his eyes filled with quiet light. One morning, Daniel opened the barn door and the stallion walked to him without hesitation. Head high, breath warm, completely changed. Daniel hugged him gently. We made it. The older man smiled. You did more than save him. You healed him. Daniel understood then. Saving a life doesn't change the world. But it changes one life completely. And sometimes that's enough to change you too. Moral. Real strength is choosing kindness when no one else does. And the smallest act of compassion can become the turning point in someone else's life. Spring arrived slowly that year, like it wasn't fully sure the farm deserved warmth yet. But every morning, Daniel found the white stallion standing a little straighter, breathing a little easier, looking a little more alive. One afternoon, as gold sunlight filled the barn, Daniel opened the stall door and said softly, Do you want to try the pasture today? The stallion hesitated. His ears flicked, muscles tightening with old memories, ropes, loud barns, men who pushed him too hard. Daniel didn't rush him. He simply stepped back and held the lead rope loose, giving the horse space to choose. Finally, the stallion stepped forward. One careful step. Then another. His hooves pressed into soft earth for what felt like the first time in years. The moment he smelled the open air, something changed. His head lifted higher, nostrils flaring. The breeze tugged at his mane. The world, once dangerous, seemed wide and quiet and safe. Daniel whispered, It's all yours. Go ahead. The stallion took a breath as deep as a prayer. Then he trotted. Not fast, not strong, but free. Daniel stood there, eyes burning with pride. The older man placed a weathered hand on his shoulder. That horse, he needed someone who believed in him before he remembered how to believe in himself. Daniel nodded. I think he's remembering. That evening, something surprising happened. The stallion walked up to Daniel, not for food, not for brushing, not because he was nervous. He came just to stand beside him. Shoulder to shoulder. Breath to breath. Daniel leaned his forehead against the stallion's neck. You're not just surviving anymore. You're healing. And he was. But the real turning point came a week later. Daniel entered the barn carrying fresh water when he heard a low, pained sound. The stallion stood frozen, muscles locked, staring at the far corner of the barn. Daniel followed his gaze. A forgotten coil of rope lay there. Ordinary, harmless. But to the stallion it was a memory. He began to shake. Not from cold. From fear. Daniel dropped the buckets and rushed to him. Hey, I'm right here. The stallion pressed his head into Daniel's chest, searching for safety the way a child searches for a parent's hand in the dark. Daniel wrapped his arms around him. "I promise, no one will ever use that on you again." Slowly the trembling stopped. When Daniel pushed the rope outside, the stallion let out a long, shuddering breath, as if releasing a memory that had been chained inside him for years. The older man watched from the doorway, eyes damp. "Healing isn't straight, Daniel. Sometimes it's messy. Sometimes it's loud. But the fact he came to you, that means everything." Daniel stroked the stallion's mane. "He came because he knows I'll protect him." "Exactly," the older man said. "You're his safe place." Summer brought the biggest change. The stallion's coat turned bright like snow in sunlight. His stride grew confident. His muscles filled out. He no longer looked like the broken animal from the auction yard. One quiet afternoon, Daniel opened the pasture gate. This time the stallion didn't hesitate. He galloped, truly galloped, for the first time. Snow-white mane flying, hooves thundering across open field, each stride a declaration, "I survived." Daniel laughed, tears slipping down his cheeks. His uncle whispered, "There. That's who he was meant to be." The stallion slowed and cantered back, stopping in front of Daniel with a proud snort as if saying, "Look, I'm strong now." Daniel brushed his cheek gently. "You're incredible." The stallion nudged him in the chest, a soft, grateful push. But healing wasn't just physical. Every night, Daniel read stories to him, talked to him, sat near him while the stars burned over the farm. The stallion responded in quiet ways, resting his head on Daniel's shoulder, following his footsteps, sighing softly when Daniel's hand touched his neck. It was no longer a rescue. It was a partnership. A bond that people spend lifetimes chasing, but rarely find. And Daniel learned something important. Saving the stallion had saved something in him too.